Hi, can you hear me? Hello? Hi, my name is Spoken Marmalade. Yes, I'm gonna be your tutor. Um, well, it's good to meet you too. I know this format is a little unusual, doing this over FaceTime. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a little bit now, and I think it's pretty great, honestly. I can just kind of do it from, wherever I'm at. I can just be still on my campus and working with somebody else on another campus. So it just makes things easy. Right, right. Well, I'm glad you're open to the idea. Some people still believe you need to be face to face, but I love what technology is doing. So, all right. Well, so you are wanting help with English phonetics. Right, right. Um, I don't mean for this to be coming off rude, but it's pretty early on in the semester. So I'm going to kind of go on the assumption that we're talking about the basics, correct? Okay, okay. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to jump to false conclusions, but I know, it's early in the year, early in the semester. Um, so have you had any transcription quizzes yet? You have one coming up. Okay, well, I'm going to do my best to help get you ready for that. So it seems like where we should start is just the different sounds, the classifications and such, how we come about that. Okay, well, yeah, then we can get started on that. That sounds good. So I have some paper to just take notes on. You can screenshot whatever you need to help you out. Um, and I'll just be writing with my marker. Um, so let's get started. The first thing to kind of cover is how we classify sounds and why they're classified the way they are. Basically, most consonants, we can start with consonants. Um, they are generally classified in three ways. There's the plays. There's the place, the manner, kind of the way, the usage, sort of, and the voicing. And with voicing, the easiest way to explain voicing, I'm sure you've done before, where you can put fingers up to your throat, and you'll notice that when you talk, certain words make your throat vibrate, and or certain sounds make your throat vibrate, and certain sounds don't. You can kind of feel it moving and stop moving, if you put your fingers right here. Yeah, yeah, it's like that with everyone. That's because certain sounds you kind of turn your throat on for, and certain sounds you turn it off for. And certain sounds, they look the same. If you were to look at them in the mouth, they would look the same. But their voicing or their lack of voicing determines which of the two sounds they are. Okay, so you got that? Okay, great. So we can start. We kind of discussed voicing. You either have voiced or unvoiced. Voice sounds make your throat vibrate, and unvoiced sounds don't. And a lot of consonants are both in English. Some languages, they really prefer one or the other, but in English, it's pretty even. There's some sounds that are kind of not paired to another sound, but a lot of them are. So it's kind of important to know the voicing in English more than maybe certain other languages. Okay, okay. So then let's talk about the place. Let me put my marker up because I'm going to show you. So the first place is the lips. These sounds are made by the lip movement specifically. One that is very common is the B sound, b. You see, it doesn't really, there's not really a lot of movement inside the actual mouth. It really is made by the movement of the lips. Another common one is the M sound. Because that also, it goes through your nose, but going through your nose is considered a manner, not a place. So it definitely comes from the lips when it comes to the actual mouth. Okay, so then going back from there, there is the interdental sounds, which we have in English, but a lot of languages don't have. Those are the two TH sounds, are kind of the common ones. Now, there are two TH sounds, and that's something that a lot of people tend to get confused on. There's the TH like in thin, and then there's a TH like in those. You can kind of hear the difference. The TH in thin is they're unvoiced, or it is unvoiced, so it would not cause vibration in your throat. But in those, it is voiced. So we kind of spell them the same in English, but they actually are two different sounds. So those are some like dental sounds, for example. Then there's the alveolar sounds. Right behind your teeth, if you feel inside your mouth, there's this tiny little bump, and it's right behind your teeth. And a lot of sounds are made by putting the tongue on or close to that bump. For example, T, 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 and D, duh, duh, are a set of paired sounds that are considered alveolar sounds. They, just like with the two THs, one is voiced, the duh, and one is unvoiced, t. So, those are alveolar sounds. There's also S and Z, S, Z. And again, S is unvoiced and Z is voiced. One thing that's interesting with English is we often use S at the end of words when we make them plural. But in actuality, not most, but about half, if not more than half, of words that end in an S actually end in a Z sound. The reason we do this is because words that end in a voiced sound are easier to transition to another voiced sound. So instead of saying like dogs, because that's a little awkward, we say dogs, and it would really end in a Z sound. Okay, so you're following all of that? That's good. Behind your alveolar ridge is your palate. So those are the palatal sounds. Some of the palatal sounds are sounds that we just don't use as much in English. For example, SH and CH. Those are relatively used, but we also have two other sounds, J and J. J obviously is the J sound, like in judge. And then we have J. It kind of is like a soft J. But we do use that in English. It's just not as common. But like in the word measure, measure, we don't say like measure. Right, so that would be like a soft J, or this Z sound. So then, behind the palate, there is the velum, which is your soft palate. If you kind of stick your tongue in the back of your mouth, or at the top, like towards the back, you'll notice there's a point where your palate kind of is still there, like there's still a roof to your mouth, but it's a lot softer, and that's called your velum. And we have two very common sounds back there. We have K, K, and G, G. You kind of use the back of your mouth for both of those sounds. So those would be considered velar sounds, an example of velar sounds. And then in the very, very back, you have the glottal sounds. And in English, there's only one. It's H, H, H. But sometimes we kind of borrow this other glottal sound that's called the glottal stop. And it's only kind of, you only really see it in some dialects. For example, a glottal stop would be in mountain, but only if you say it like mountain. That kind of breathy like thing in the middle that kind of replaces the T is considered a glottal stop, and you actually make it in the very, very back of your throat. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because our sounds can be vastly different and still perceived the same way. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like learning about linguistics and stuff. I just think it's really cool. So, the last one we have to talk about is the manner. The manner is the way it is made. In English, there's several different ways you can make sounds, but the two most common are stops and fricatives. Stops are made when you kind of have pressure. Let me draw a picture because this might be easier to understand. So, what I drew a picture of is basically the side view of a person, including their oral passage and their nasal passage. So, when you're talking about a sound like a stop, what happens is you have a lot of air building up somewhere in the oral or the nasal passage, and then in one moment that is released.